Well, you can call it the Romney cash dash. Presidential candidate Mitt Romney expected to dwarf all of his Republican rivals when the next quarterly finance reports come out. Green that can really help the former Massachusetts governor hold his lead in the polls. Plus, probably make it a little bit harder for the rest of the field to gain traction and raise money. So now for a fair and balanced debate, Fox political analyst Juan and Kevin Madden, former national press secretary to Mitt Romney's 2008 presidential campaign. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So I'm going to begin with you, Kevin, since you were part of that campaign in 2008. At that time, in 2008, he sank $45 million of his own money into the campaign. This time around, he says he's not going to dump any of his own money in. So is he overconfident, or is that confidence justified? What do you think?
Well, I think that's confidence in that he can build the grassroots network of donors to actually compete in this campaign. I think one of the challenges that we had when I was working on the campaign in 2008 is that we were up against two candidates then with 100% name identification, Rudy Giuliani and John McCain. So in order to be competitive, Governor Romney felt at that time it was important for him to put some of his own money in to show that he was making an investment in his campaign that he was asking many donors to. But this time I think he is much more interested in building a much broader base of support around the country. And I think because he's been very successful at that, I expect that's where the campaign is going to continue to go.
Hey, Juan, I want to stick with the money with you for a moment. I mean, is it all about the money? Talking about the 2008 campaign, it was the costliest in U.S. history. $5.3 billion spent between the candidates, political parties, interest groups, $2.4 billion from the presidential candidates alone. So where's all that money coming from?
Well, it comes from donors, from the bundlers, and you know what? It comes from Wall Street, Hollywood. It comes from the oil people down in Texas. It comes from big business in terms of the big money. But one of the phenomena that took place last time on the Democratic side was President Obama's ability to get low money donations through the internet, and he absolutely abandoned the public finance system because he was doing so on his own, and then on the basis of that grassroots fundraising was able to go to the big boys and get the money out of Wall Street and Hollywood. On the Republican side this time, I'm going to pick up on something Kevin was talking about. I think that the reason that Mitt Romney doesn't need to use his own money is because he really is competing against midgets here in the fundraising business. There's nobody on the Republican side who's been able to go to the big money pockets and say, I have a real chance of beating Mitt Romney. So Tim Pawlenty has not shown anything in the polls. Michelle Bachmann's doing okay in terms of grassroots, but not sufficiently well to convince the big boys that she's going to be around to defeat Mitt Romney at the end of the day.
So, Kevin, what do you think about that? Can anybody catch up?
Well, look, I think that the answer, what Juan left out in that answer was yet. I think there are people like Rick Perry who are proven fundraisers that can still get in. Michelle Bachmann
saying that
has
he'll
actually
announce
shown,
actually in August, Rick Perry.
Right. Right, and so that the starter's gun is only about 6 weeks away when we look at Ames being in the middle of August, and Michelle Bachmann has actually shown that she has a fundraising ability. She did very well and raised more money than any congressional candidate has, and I think she has a lot of enthusiasm out there for the base, so she could very well compete. And then you also look at Tim Pawlenty. He's been running for 2 years. He's been designated a first-tier candidate. He's put together a first-tier campaign. If you look at the staff that he's put together, so I think he's going to have to show that he's got first-tier money as well.
Well, Kevin, I have to wrap you up. Kevin Madden and Juan Williams, thank you so much for joining us. We've got a lot of breaking news.